Okay, here we go. So first of all, Kinsey, mute your mic. You've got some background noise. And then whenever you have a question, just go ahead and unmute and jump back in. Um, okay, earlier today, so far today I've made the following point several times, that many AP questions, if you can identify this, it'll help you get started. If you can figure out what's the amount they're talking about and what's the rate they're talking about. So, for example, if you haven't taken the 2012 test, don't drop out. Just keep listening. This won't be enough of a hint to affect really your test score. So keep listening even if you haven't taken the 2012 yet. As I'm reading 2012 5C, here's how I read the problem. They start out and they say the rate. So I focus on that. The rate at which a baby bird gains weight. Right there, they're telling me the amount. So amount is weight. So if I'm working the problem, I've got over here on some scratch paper because you're taking this at home, so you can use as much paper as you want. So the weight goes here, and then I keep reading. So let's see. Gains weight is proportional to the difference between its adult weight and its current weight. As I read that statement, I don't know what that, like my brain can't process that quick enough, so I don't worry about it. I just keep going. At time equals 0, when the bird is first weighed, its weight is 20 grams. I would have stopped there and written over here. Now I know that W, the weight of the bird, at time 0 is 20. I keep reading. Oh, wait a minute, they changed the symbol on me. That's fine. So they said B of T is the weight of the bird. So then over here, I just, cross out my notes, and that's B of T. Just use that in white. So B of T, so B of 0 is the initial weight of the bird. Okay, then they give me this equation, dB dt. That means they're giving me the rate, because a derivative is a rate. So in my little notes over here, I don't have enough room, so I'll use this side. Here's rate. I write dB over dt. Like so. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 of you. Anyone want to jump in with any question at this point? And I kind of paused for a long time because with the video conference you just have to have longer pauses. Plus the other thing that's important here is, again, the only way to get better at this is not only listening, but it's just kind of casually and comfortably talking about it. So that's why you want to wait as long as you need. But is everybody okay so far that as I read the problem, I was able fairly quickly to identify what amount they're talking about and also what rate they're talking about. That's crucial to many problems, so I just want to make sure everybody's okay to there. Anybody? Okay, so now I keep reading. It says right here that B of t is the solution to the differential equation. All that means is that if you start with this equation and you work backwards, you can find this equation. That's what they mean by is the solution to the equation. Anybody need to talk about that idea?
Wait, sorry, say that again.
So it all comes back to, sorry, Joseph, I keep cutting you off. Say it again.
So if you take dB dt and you work backwards, you're going to get y equals dB dt.
Yes, you're going to get, so I have this equation B of t, this dB dt is really a different way of telling you that they're giving you B prime. And they want, and the solution to a differential equation is the original equation, B. So you simply have to memorize that phrasing, that when they're talking about finding a solution to a differential equation, they're saying we want to go find the amount equation. They're giving you the rate equation, they want you to find the amount equation. Now I have a box on the golden notes, let me put that on the board. 1 second. So because of the struggle people have had over the years at remembering when to use the Sassi method, I created a box on the golden notes that was designed to help with this. It's a little lengthy, but hopefully once you feel comfortable with it, it's a lot easier to identify and how it's used. And the good news, of course, is this year you don't have to memorize it, you just have to find it on the chart. I should say find it on the golden notes as you're testing, so you don't have to memorize this. So 1 second, I'll paste it. Okay, here we go. So again, first thing I want you to get good at is what I'm showing here, how I come up with as I read the problem, what's the amount they're talking about, what's the rate they're talking about. Second big idea is what Josie asked about, which is this wording. B of t is the solution to the differential equation. That simply means that if you start with this formula for B prime, and you work backwards, you can find the equation for B. The box I'm now pasting is meant to help you with this. So the box on the golden note says, whenever you are given a rate, they gave us a rate, and they want us to find an amount. They want us to find the formula for B of t. You're going to use the fundamental theorem as your first choice, unless the rate they give you includes the output variable. So in this particular problem right here, use separation of variables to find B of t. We are supposed to find this formula, which is the solution to the differential equation. So it's this box. They're giving you a rate. The differential equation is a formula for the rate. They want you to find the amount formula, which is B of t. Well, I'd like to use the fundamental theorem because it's easier, but I can't. So instead, I have to use the Sassi method, because the formula for the rate includes the output variable B. That was a lot of words. It would help if one of you either had a question or somebody just wants to say it back, and then I can let you know whether or not your thinking is correct. So no questions, no volunteers at this point. The key idea really is, it's back to this idea that I've been doing all day today so far, where I create a column for amount, I create a column for rate, then because they say find B of t, they want me to find this, and I've got to find this by using my rate formula. My first choice would be to use the fundamental theorem if I could, but because my formula for the rate includes the output variable, I have to use the Sassi method instead. Another key on the Sassi method is when they say find the solution to the differential equation, that's the Sassi method, whenever you're finding the solution to a differential equation. Go ahead, Cassidy. Yes, please.
Okay, sorry, I sound kind of funny. I just had to go to the dentist because I have my wisdom teeth out, but
You sound just fine.
So, kind of just like what you were saying, every time it says a particular solution to a differential equation, or anytime it says like initial conditions, that's how we, like, we'll always be using Sassi when it says
Let me say something back to you, but you're really, really close. There are a good number of AP problems that will use the words differential equation, particular solution, initial condition. What you have to be careful with is wait until you read a problem that says to either solve the differential equation, find the solution to the differential equation, then you know you're using Sassi. So let me show an example here. Like on this 2012 test, and again, don't worry if you haven't taken it yet, just keep listening. In part A, they have all those words, initial condition, solution to the differential equation, like all that's stated. But then in part A, when they actually ask a question, the question doesn't say anything about finding the solution to the differential equation. So I know that in part A, I'm not using Sassi because they're not asking me to find the solution to the differential equation. However, in part C, they specifically say, find B of t, comma, the solution to the differential equation. They're saying that B of t is the solution to that differential equation, and because I'm finding a solution to a differential equation, yes, I have to use the Sassi method. Talk to me, Cassidy.
Okay. No, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. No, that's perfect.
Did you get the Cassidy and everyone else? I posted this on Canvas, and what I did is I went through, and I've since added one to it, but I went through 4 different AP tests over the years, and I tried to find the wording they used. That was the clue to me that I had to use the Sassi method. Like right here, example 1. In this particular problem, the introduction to the problem didn't say anything about a differential equation. But when I got to part C, they had that special wording that Cassidy's talking about. They said, okay, when h is 17 and time is 0, solve this differential equation. So since they're giving me dh dt, the letters tell me what I'm supposed to do. I've got to go find, let me write it on the board. When I read this problem, I know because this says dh dt, that solving that differential equation means I've got to go find an equation for h of t. And because my differential equation includes the output variable h, I know I'm going to have to use Sassi. Questions about example 1, then I'll talk about the other 3 real quick.
So just real quick, so it doesn't have to say initial condition, like given the initial condition. So sometimes when we find Sassi, like when we use the Sassi method, it won't say that.
Correct.
Even it kind of gives it to us, but it doesn't necessarily say initial condition. So what we're really looking for is when it says solve the differential equation.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, you said that really well. Let's keep talking until it just gets more and more comfortable. Yeah, like they can say, here's a differential equation. They can say, given a differential equation. They can say, you know, this differential equation applies or whatever. They still haven't asked you to solve the differential equation. It's not until they in some way say that they want you to find the solution to the differential equation that you know you're going to use the Sassi method.
No, yeah, that makes sense. I think whenever I see initial condition, I'm like, oh, Sassi method. Like that's just kind of what makes me think that, but now it makes sense just to look for the differential equation. And obviously initial condition too, but it's really the differential equation that will tell us to find Sassi.
And honestly, my preference is this box here that I showed you a minute ago. I'm going to change screens again. So can you see this box down here, Cassidy?
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. Yeah.
You're just fine. That's what I prefer to do. Like instead of looking for the words differential equation or whatever, or initial condition, I like to just always say, hey, for many, many problems, I'm going to have one column that says amount, one column that says rate, and as I'm reading the problem, if I discover that they want me to somehow find the equation over here for the amount, well, my first choice would be fundamental theorem. But because this equation for rate includes that output variable right here, if the rate includes the output variable, you have to use Sassi. That's actually the most reliable way to know, is this box.
Okay.
I've not ever encountered an AP problem where they were able to trick me if I was following this box carefully.
And sorry, what's the output variable? The B or the in this one?
Good question. So when you see this, in any AP problem, when you see an equation like this one, see where I'm at?
Yeah.
Derivative is always change in output divided by change in input. So I know the output variable is B and the input variable is T. So my equation here for dB dt includes the output variable B, which means right here, because my formula for the rate includes the output variable, and they're asking me to find the formula for the amount, that's how I know I have to use Sassi.
Okay, that makes sense. So if it was like dA dt and then in the equation it had A in there, then you know that's the output variable. Okay, that makes sense.
I'm going to give a couple more examples because you're asking such good questions. Here's another one. Like what you just said was this. You said, hey, I'm reading a problem, and somewhere in the problem they give me something like dA dt, and I'm just making this up. You know, I don't know what they're going to give you, but they give you something like that. And then in the problem they ask you to find A of t. That's definitely Sassi, because you're trying to go from here to here, and the formula you're starting with has the output variable. So you have to use the Sassi method. Now, another example they could give you would be something like this. They give you a formula for dB dt, just making this up again. And this formula now does not contain the output variable, but they want you to find V of t. Now you just use the fundamental theorem. That's what the box right here, hold on a second. So the box right here I gave you in the golden notes, that's the purpose of this box, is to help you understand that every time you're going from a rate, like if you're going from a formula for the rate, and you're trying to find a formula for the amount, if your rate formula has the output variable, then it's Sassi. But if your rate formula does not have the output variable, then it's the fundamental theorem.
That makes so much more sense. Yeah.
Okay. Is you okay, Cassidy?
Yeah, that page right there just helps a lot too.
Good.
Okay.
Anybody else have a question on this particular thing before we go to something else? Sorry, I had to kill a strange bug that showed up on my desk. Anybody else on this particular topic before I stop the video about the Sassi method? Welcome, Camry.
Hey.
Good to hear you. Hold on a second.